Christopher, buddy, you changed things forever. There's no going back. You want to know how he changed comic book film forever? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. Hi, welcome to another episode of Bomb Squad Movie Night. I am your host and master of ceremony for this evening, Joseph Henry Vrenick, former employee of Topgolf, and today I have with me...
I'm not wearing hockey pads!
I am the Bat.
Now that we're all introduced, it's time to introduce this behemoth of a movie that I am shitting my pants over right now because I'm worried about not doing this movie justice. It's The Dark Knight. One of the most beloved movies ever made, the most beloved comic book movie ever made. But before we get into talking about that, this is a movie that features one of the greatest performances just ever, and possibly the greatest performance in a comic book movie ever. So I want to hear from you guys, because there's been a lot of other really great comic book movie performances over the years. So what are some other really fantastic comic book movie performances? Tim, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I am gonna go with my boy Ron Perlman as Hellboy.
You bastard! You took mine!
He did it!
Yeah, Ron Perlman is just a incredible actor. I love him in everything he's in. He is my Deathstroke all day, every day. He's great in Hellboy, and he just blends right into the character, has a lot of fun doing it. He's just a delight to watch. He's also just, as an actor, a cool motherfucker. His response today to the whole, they're prolonging the strike until people start going homeless. He just goes,
the motherfucker who said we're going to keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments. Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial, some of it is karma, and some of it is just figuring out who the said that and where he lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house.
This dude's a badass.
Holy shit!
You gotta love him. I also want to do a quick shout out to Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach in the Watchmen movie. Sort of an understated performance, and I know a lot of people have issues with the depiction of the character in the movie, but it's absolutely a standout for me, so just wanted to shout that one out. Back to you, Joe.
You know, both are really good picks. I would be one of those people that has a bit of a problem with how he's portrayed in the movie, but Jackie Earle Haley brings it.
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
But
oh yeah.
Why'd you have to pick Hellboy, Ron Perlman? Damn it.
I'm sorry, my son.
Didn't I kill you already?
All right, Austin. I'm hoping that you didn't pick my second option, so let's just get yours out of the way. Let's hear it.
I'm betting that the villains from the first two Spider-Man movies do it for a lot of people. Ever since No Way Home came out, everybody's been really keen to talk about how high Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina set the bar. They both needed to sell that, heel turn, it's not my fault I'm so evil right now shtick, and I think that makes them feel like kind of tragic father figures to a lot of people. But in the modern day, post-MCU, post-first iteration of the DCEU world that we live in, I'd name 3 characters in sort of ascending order of how much they've impressed me. Number 3 is Josh Brolin as Thanos. Entirely from Infinity War, not so much from Endgame. He's committing an act of unthinkable destruction, but what's waiting for him at the finish line is this haunting image of his dead daughter. He plays the whole thing very cool, but when his composure breaks, it's always kind of miraculous to watch.
When I'm done, half of humanity will still be alive. I hope they remember you.
Number 2 is Loki, because he's just pitch-perfect casting. Quality of the various films he's in aside, Hiddleston is simply iconic in the role. He projects a very sexy, engaging kind of energy, and he's consistently able to elevate the scenes that he's in to a place where sometimes they're more memorable than the movies that they're from.
She wouldn't want us to fight. Well, she wouldn't exactly be shocked.
But at number 1, it's Michael Fassbender's younger Magneto, particularly in X-Men First Class. The closest I've ever seen a filmmaker come to capturing my attention the way the pencil trick in The Dark Knight did was that scene of him killing Nazis at that bar in Argentina.
Blut und Ehre.
Ja, was würden Sie gerne zuerst verlieren?
Wir hatten unsere Befehle.
Also Blut.
This was only 2 years after *Inglourious Bastards* came out, so there was a really special place in my heart for a scene where Fassbender speaks 3 languages and a bunch of Nazis end up dead. He's magnificent in the rest of the film, but that one scene stands miles above most things you encounter in the superhero subgenre. Those are my answers. Back to you, Joe.
Those are all fucking incredible picks. I love every single one of those picks. But now it's my time to shine. So, I also have a couple of other ones, but I have one definitive answer. I'll run off my honorable mentions. The first 2, you gotta bring them up at some point. It's Michael Keaton as Batman and Christopher Reeve as Superman. Those 2 took the most iconic DC characters and then just defined them for like a generation.
Why are you here? There must be a reason for you to be here.
Yes, I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
My other honorable mention, Wesley Snipes as fucking Blade. Talk about the most you, I'm gonna be cool as the entire time performance. He has like the greatest damn one-liners, even in a movie where he's not even trying, he's cool. Man, Blade Trinity sucked.
We will not be hearing from the Twitter people who want to say the original Blade movie was bad. Actually, you are wrong. Go back to bed.
Be gone!
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Kills.
Sing.
But no, my pick, my actual answer, I gotta introduce him this way. He can sing, he can dance, he can host the Oscars, and still play a credible badass. It's Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Oh!
Like, Hugh Jackman's always just been an incredible actor. He's always had incredible range, and talk about an actor just clearly owning a role to a point where just when he thought he was out, we pulled him back in because he's in Deadpool 3, which, why is he in Deadpool 3? It should just be him as Hugh Jackman.
They got the comic book costume on him.
I don't care. But yeah, no, Hugh Jackman, that man has owned a role for over 2 damn decades, and nobody ever wants to see that role recast. We just want Hugh Jackman. Unfortunately, I think after Deadpool 3, I think he's done, but he should have been done after 2017.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
𝐿𝐴𝐳𝐸.
Go yourself.
Honestly, that's just a role that it's just hard to top. I don't think you're ever going to top it. However, that is a role that, as far as comic book movies in general goes, has been dethroned because we got to talk about our boy, Heath Ledger himself. I dedicated a brief section of aside for us to get one damn sentence out about Heath Ledger, because if I don't, it's just going to be the Heath Ledger show. That's all we're going to be talking about.
And here we go.
So, we're gonna try and get this out of the way. We gotta mention the greatest comic book performance ever, Heath Ledger as the Joker. You guys have one sentence, make it count. Austin, you go first.
He actually partially got the role because Chris Nolan saw his performance in Brokeback Mountain and thought he was fearless. And if I went back to my high school and told the homophobes that part of the reason that Joker exists is because of the gay cowboy movie, their heads would burst into flames.
All right, Tim, go.
Everybody who has interpreted the Joker as a character as humorless, crazy psycho person after this role is out of their minds, because this dude had jokes for days.
Damn right he did. Which, that leads me to my one sentence about Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger's performance is so damn good and funny that he takes a really fucking brutal murder, like stabbing a guy's face with a pencil, and makes it the funniest scene of the damn movie. What a performance, what a character, what a movie. The movie that changed everything, The Dark Knight. We're just gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna go over to Austin first. Tell us what you think of one of the greatest movies ever made.
I was wrapping up this film last night, and I had this heavy feeling wash over me like I was about to cry. Rewatching The Dark Knight made me nostalgic for like the simpler psychological time of being a suburban teenager, but also the promise that it represented 15 years ago. The promise of these like auteur-driven superhero films that could be in conversation at awards season. Not just in the VFX department, but stuff like Best Picture and Best Actor.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I think this movie, like pound for pound, was the most recently made film that influenced the most people around me while I was growing up. I have seen so many Joker impressions, been in so many rooms where everybody agrees that this is the Citizen Kane of superhero films. There actually is something kind of sad about the ending. Gary Oldman says that we have to chase Batman, and 15 years later, we're still chasing after this film. There are more superhero movies than ever, but we can never seem to top this one. I'm taking a very specific route today with my answer. I'm gonna focus on things I noticed this time around during my rewatch. Filed under things that I noticed. First, we've got the film's emotional structure. This movie's first 41 minutes are like the triumphant climax of a totally different movie. Things just keep getting better and better until the moment that the dead Batman jump scare happens. If you were to like illustrate it with a line graph, it climbs to a triumphant high early on, ending with the RICO case, then spends the rest of the movie plummeting into hopelessness, eventually breaking the bottom of the graph and descending straight to hell. Very cool structure.
Whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
Also, some of the scene transitions for this film, like its screenplay structure, is very intelligent. Like Bruce, he tells Harvey that he's throwing him a fundraiser with his high society friends, after which he'll never need another penny, right? Cut immediately to a scene of the mobsters who are all holding a meeting because they've been robbed by the Joker. Or like later, Alfred saying that to catch his like Joker analog back in his army days, we had to burn the whole forest down. Immediately cut to Harvey with half of his face charred. Or Alfred in the beginning, warning Bruce about like knowing your limitations, Master Wayne. Then we cut directly to Rachel, shown in person for the first time, foreshadowing the devastating effect that her death would have on Batman. Touches like that just feel really intelligent, while like not being too academic or dense for like normal people to figure them out, you know?
What gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Then one last tiny thing that I really appreciated this time around was that obstruction that forces the police convoy carrying Harvey Dent to go underground. It's a fire truck that the Joker's men set on fire. That is a really funny visual gag. I know that like slaughter is the best medicine written on the Joker's truck, and the bullet holes in the shape of the smiley face are also hanging around in that scene, but I'd never taken a second to truly appreciate the flaming fire truck joke until now. I'm capping myself here so everybody else has adequate time to the movie off. If you're keen on production trivia, I have some stuff in general discussion that is going to royally your mind. But to end my general review, The Dark Knight holds up extremely well 15 years later in every respect, except maybe as a political allegory for the war on terror. I have seen it 100 times and I'm still finding new stuff to like. It is truly the masterpiece by which all other superhero movies are measured.
Yeah. Tim, what about you? How are you gonna this movie off like we all are today?
So I want to start with a just brief story. Fans of the channel will know that last year I made a little video with Joe and Tanner where we visited Chicago, and most of it is just us at the Tears for Fears concert. But there's a little bit of stuff where we just like did stuff around Chicago. Not in the video was when we were talking about going to the various shooting locations of The Dark Knight, and we were trying to make plans to do this, and then we just did it on accident. Because apparently the set of The Dark Knight is just the commute in Chicago. I would just be driving around and just be like, oh no, that's the bridge from the Lamborghini scene. That's the tunnel from the Slaughter's the Best Medicine scene. But most importantly, we flipped off Trump Tower, which is the final set piece.
Based.
So that was our tour of the Dark Knight set. But my thoughts on the movie, this is one of those movies kind of like The Empire Strikes Back or Akira, where everything has been said about it. So I'm just gonna play the hits.
It's simple. We kill the Batman.
If it's so simple, why haven't you done it already?
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
It's a incredible movie. It's a movie that not only has, for better or worse, shaped the way that Batman has been adapted over the last 15 years, but really it's had an impact on basically everything DC has put out in that time. It's had an incredible footprint And everything that Austin said rings true. It's brilliant screenplay. He actually turned me on to a documentary called The Fire Rises, which kind of talks about how they were approaching each individual film and sort of looking back at how different it was back then, because you kind of take it for granted. And now that we have all these superhero movies, and like there was still a decent bit of superhero movies coming out around that time, but it was not like what we have now. It was much less saturated, and like the degree to which they were taking this project seriously is something that we haven't really ever seen since.
Well, I must say, compared to your usual requests, jumping out of an airplane is pretty straightforward.
I did say this in our podcast last year on The Batman. I think that's a better adaptation of Batman, but I think this is a better movie. It's paced so well, too. Like, it's long enough to feel epic, but not too long that you're like, all right, let's pick it up. You're enthralled the entire time. That's basically my 2 cents. I'll probably have more to say in general discussion, but I'll pass it back to you, Joe.
It's not about what I want. It's about what's fair! You thought we could be decent men in an indecent time!
Oh boy, I've been dreading this moment. I have been dreading this moment all damn year since we put it on the schedule. I might as well kind of just start from the beginning and just kind of talk about just how big this movie was for me and how it came out at quite possibly the most correct time for myself specifically. I was in that little window of time transitioning between elementary school and middle school. Like, I was 12 years old when this movie came out. I was about to be a damn teenager. I was no longer a kid, damn it. And this is the best possible damn movie to come out when you're almost 13 and you're starting to get a little bit older.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
The hype for this movie was off the damn charts for me. I played that trailer so many damn times over the summer to a point where I'm pretty sure even my grandma can memorize it. Like, I would ask her to just quote the trailer and she'd just be like, where do we begin? Like, that's how hyped I was for it, because I really loved Batman Begins and it just looked so damn cool. It looked better than literally every other movie coming out that year. It looked better than The Love Guru. That's the example I throw out.
That's a low bar, buddy.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
But my thoughts on the actual movie have pretty much stayed the same ever since the year 2008. I love this movie to death. It's not my favorite movie anymore. It used to be my favorite movie, but it's just so good. This movie looks so damn beautiful. Like, the grounded seriousness, fine. That's a discussion for some other time. But you know what? I like it when my superhero movies look like Michael Mann's Heat, because you know what Michael Mann's Heat is? A really good movie, and a really good looking movie.
With a great ass!
With a great ass!
She got a great ass!
So if my comic book movie looks like Michael Mann's Heat, I am more than okay with that. It was like, we had our one sentence on Heath Ledger. None of the other cast members ever get mentioned outside of Heath Ledger, unfortunately. And specifically Aaron Eckhart,
yes!
who I think is the heart and soul of this damn movie.
Carbon fiber, 28 caliber, made in China. If you want to kill a public servant, Mr. Maroney, I recommend you buy American.
I once heard somebody say that they made an edit where they took out all of the damn Harvey Dent stuff and they said it was a better movie, to which I said, you're a f***ing liar, you're stupid, you need to go get your head examined because you probably have some really bad cancer that's blocking the smart parts of your brain.
How would the climax of the movie work? What?
It wouldn't. That's the thing. I genuinely believe that this is the only good Batman movie to have, like, perfectly adapted the One Bad Day storyline, but with a different villain at its center. Jim Gordon's great in it too. I will always get hyped when that tunnel chase happens. When we were driving around there in Chicago, man oh man, I was trying so goddamn hard not to quote the movie. We're driving through these lower whackers, and I'm just like, lower fifth will be like turkeys on Thanksgiving down there. Even the f***ing extras, say what you want about how f***ing cheesy and bad they are, but the extras in this are f***ing hilarious. Specifically, no more dead cops!
No more dead cops! Yeah!
One of the best running gags that we've ever had in our group chat, one of the funniest extras ever. I love that man to death. There's just so much to f***ing love about this movie.
It's not about money. It's about sending a message.
I'm pretty sure Austin's gonna have a lot of really awesome stuff for behind the scenes and general discussion. So we're just gonna take a brief break. I'm gonna calm the f down, and we'll be right back after Mike Engel from Gotham Tonight gets killed by the Joker.
I'm not wearing hats.
And we're back. So it's a very f***ing scary time in the industry right now. An industry that we all want to be a part of someday. There are actors and writers, and even the costume department guild is on strike right now. And they're all out there fighting to make a fair wage and to not have their damn work stolen by f***ing AI, which needs to be destroyed immediately. And the big f***ing business heads f***ing suck. And we're actually going to take this moment to shout out a couple of places where you can throw in and help support the strikes, specifically the Entertainment Community Fund. There's the snack list. It helps supports the Writers Guild, the Groceries for Writers charity. It helps feed the writers that are currently on strike. They need all the help they can get. Go to those funds. We'll have links down in the description below. And now back to our actual, regular ad. Do you like movies? Do you like movies that were made during a writer's strike? Most people didn't. Because you want to know what we f***ing got? We got G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, the worst James Bond movie, Quantum of Solace. And you want to know where you can find art pieces for that? You can find them on moviepalette.com, baby! While you're doing that, when you go to checkout, type in the code SQUAD15 and you'll get 15% off of your purchase. And now we're off to general discussion. So, who would like to open this one up? The floodgates have been opened.
So, this is my biggest, craziest trivia fact, and you guys ought to brace yourselves, because this is gonna piss you off.
One day, I saw a child playing with a ruby the size of a tangerine.
Just slid my ticket across the table and I said, sorry guys, I gotta see about it.
So this was shot on film and color timed on film because at the time this was made, digital intermediates were not as high resolution as they are today. We're talking like 2K, maybe at best 4K digital intermediates. Whereas anamorphic film resolution was 8K equivalent of what they were shooting on. And 15 perf IMAX is 18K or something nuts. So keeping the workflow all done with analog film procedures resulted in a significantly better image quality. And this was a huge deal to Christopher Nolan and his DP Wally Pfister. So the famous hospital explosion, right? The most famous shot from this whole movie. Chris Corbold's dudes spent 3 weeks prepping the building. They literally cut it into 2 chunks like a cake. Everything was going to be in negative, all practical, 18K resolution shot. But some matter of days before filming, some world-class, evil, f***ing bastard stole all the windows and metal framing bars out of the top 2 floors of the building. So Nolan was forced to use CGI to put the windows back on the building in the shot in the movie. That shot got dragged down from 18K native resolution to 4K resolution because some actual demon stole windows from the set of The Dark Knight.
I hope he's rotting in hell. I don't even know if he's dead yet, but I hope he's rotting in hell.
Is this the dude from Tanner's set? What the f***?
This is the guy who put PCP in the f***ing clam chowder on Titanic. He's just a menace.
What a f***ing bastard.
Yeah, sexist Todd should be stopped.
That's who it is, that f***er. I will pose a question for you. We've mentioned before in previous episodes about Gatorade get hype moments, and this movie has quite a lot of them. What would you say is probably the most definitive Gatorade get hyped moment in this entire goddamn movie?
It's hard to top the hospital exploding, but I'd say the 18-wheel truck getting f***ing flipped on its back.
fucking Batman tackling Harvey before he can shoot the kid. Which something that I've always kind of appreciated about the movie is how his coin flips alternate between heads and tails until the end where he gets 2 heads in a row because Batman decided to make his own luck.
I never noticed that.
Joe, what's your Gatorade get hype moment?
For me, it's that truck. Every time that happens, I get f***ing stoked. I remember we drove past the street where they shot that on. It's also the Commissioner Loeb funeral scene.
Do you guys remember seeing this in the theater when Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face little makeup is revealed? Well, I guess it's CGI. That was terrifying and still kind of is. It's the kind of thing where if this was made before the CG was ready, they couldn't have gotten that effect, because any makeup artist knows subtractive makeup can't be done. It just can't.
Yeah.
You need CG for it. So it was so unexpected. It's like the dude's eyeball's all big. It's f***ing terrifying.
Yeah, I remember my oldest sister was like talking about how Heath Ledger's Joker was scary to her, and I don't think she watched the movie, and when I watched it, I was like, you're not gonna like Two-Face.
Imagine having to top Heath Ledger's Joker as far as like physically being scary. So apparently when Michael Caine, they were filming the party scene, he hadn't seen Heath Ledger's Joker before while he was like in character. And apparently when Heath Ledger went up to him like during the scene, Michael Caine just froze. Wasn't able to deliver lines. It was just like, oh shit.
They did the Home Alone thing.
Which we drove past that Home Alone house when we went to Chicago as well, fun fact. Not as big as it looks in the movie, surprisingly.
I'm pretty sure they changed it because people were doing what we were doing.
I'm pretty sure when you watch the famous Why So Serious scene, you can pretty much smell the shit coming down Michael Jai White's pants, that whole entire thing.
Enough from the clown!
Let's not blow this out of proportion.
Which, going back to performances and speaking of Michael Jai White, I think it was genuinely smart on Christopher Nolan's part to cast like a bunch of character actors as the mobsters. All of the mobsters in this movie have a personality to them, and you can identify who it is. Eric Roberts, father of Emma Roberts. Man's been in more movies than James Hong. Almost 800 and counting.
From one professional to another. If you're trying to scare somebody, pick a better spot.
Michael Jai White's a goddamn hothead.
You think you can steal from us and just walk away?
Yeah.
I'm putting the word out. 500 grand for this clown dead.
The Russian guy's a big goddamn goofball. What's his face that played Shao Kahn in the Mortal Kombat movie recently? Plays it completely stoic and serious. Like, you can tell they're really good performances because they have individual identities.
All right, tale as old as time, right? It's the Christopher Nolan Breaking IMAX Cameras Hour. This tradition started almost immediately. First thing that they filmed for this movie was the bank heist. It was the crew's first time shooting IMAX ever, any of them. Steadicam op Bob Gorlick had the MSM lightweight IMAX camera mounted on his little Steadicam arm vest thingy, and on day 2 of shooting The Dark Knight, the arm fell off with the IMAX camera attached to it.
No.
We have footage, but the actual destruction of an IMAX camera came later when they were filming the Southwacker chase scene. Roll footage, Jamie! But yeah, like it was on a lev arm attached to a car, and that thing just gets eviscerated, dudes. That was the beginning of Nolan's long history. Back when this was filmed, there were only 4 IMAX cameras in the world. So Nolan destroying one on set was a little bit of a big deal.
Nolan, you crazy son of a bitch.
Take the envelope, get in, open it. It'll tell you where you're headed.
Speaking of that bank heist, I guess I'm gonna bring it back to that Chicago trip, because we did drive past we were actually within the vicinity of the bank that the Joker robs at the beginning of this movie. It's like right next to Sears Tower. Fun fact that the building that those criminals at the beginning, like they have to like grapple from one building to the other, right next door is a city bank. So the Joker's goons had to break into a bank just to break into another bank, which I find hilarious.
That sounds like a Joker scheme, though. Let's be real.
Ever wonder how they got that bus shot in the beginning of the bus coming in?
Oh dear God, how'd they do it?
Get this, it was one of the hardest shots they ever got on the movie. So they used a fake wall inside a building where the windows were lit to make it look like it was outside the building, right? They were filming in this abandoned post office and they weren't allowed to fuck up the structure because the building was listed. So they got this bus inside the building by cutting it up into little slices and reassembling it after transporting it through like just regular ass like double doors like you find on any old building. Then they attached the bus to a pneumatic piston rig and had a button that slammed the bus through the fake like outside wall thingy. So they had to construct a fake wall that looked like the outside, assemble a bus on the inside of a building, and rig it up to blow through there.
Jesus Christ. The behind the scenes of this movie is f***ing insane.
You guys know the scene where the Batmobile rams the garbage truck from underneath?
Right.
They actually did that using miniatures at 1/3 scale by New Deal Studios, because the production was not allowed to touch the ceiling of South Wacker, where the actual chase was filmed. So that's actually a cut to a miniature shot.
Honestly, I'm surprised it's a miniature, because I always thought it was CG for some reason. Because I was like, how do you pull that off? But I guess you could pull that off in a miniature. So, I want to bring up something that everyone seems to f***ing forget about this movie. So everyone knows this as the dark, serious superhero movie. Deadly serious. Like, there's not a quip to be had. F*** Marvel. It's like one of those movies. Did people f***ing forget this movie is actually really damn hilarious?
You'll be alright without me?
You could tell me the Russian for apply your own bloody suntan lotion.
There's so many good jokes, like the thing of Harvey going, any psychotic ex-boyfriends I should be aware of? And just the response, oh, you have no idea. That's a good-ass bit.
That scene in the beginning where the guy's trying to figure out who Batman is, and he's got a little wall with like Elvis and Bigfoot.
Half of Alfred and Lucius Fox's lines in this movie are just quips. They're cracking zingers most of this movie.
The whole hospital scene. All of it.
Yes. The one bit that I was laughing at, but I was also like cringing in pain at. It's like, from this height, it wouldn't kill me. I'm counting on it. What? And then he just drops him.
Lands flat on his feet.
On the one hand, Jesus f***ing Christ, I feel that, but also it's f***ing hilarious.
So this was like one of the first movies that I guess kind of made me aware that like normal people aren't necessarily aware of what MPAA ratings a movie has, because like my parents were dead convinced that this was an R-rated movie, and I kept telling them, no, it's PG-13, Mom, it's okay. I was 15 at the time, but it really isn't even that violent. Like, there's like 3 shots of blood in the entire movie.
I think there's just a lot of like implied violence in this that really gives it that edge.
One reason I think it might have felt worse at the time is when we were younger, there were like Al-Qaeda videos on the news of live executions. And that was the thing that America had never seen before. So the Joker, like, doing his weird little broadcast was a riff on that. And our parents were probably like, oh, I can't show this to my kids.
Like, even my parents were aware that this movie was PG-13, but, like, even they were, like, questioning whether or not I could see it. And this was also the same year that they would not let me see Hellboy 2, for whatever f***ing reason.
Because it has hell in the title. Ooh.
I will say that I did watch all 3 of these when they came out in theaters, and I do think that Scarecrow is the most that any of these scared me, because I was 12 when that movie came out, and so seeing that on the big screen as a 12-year-old was just like, what in the holy shit?
Speaking of pants and terror, I have one more of these I gotta like force out. So that 18-wheel truck flip, right? They had to practice that a lot, and where they actually practiced it was the bombed out location where the hospital used to be. They blew up a building and then they flipped a giant truck on top of where the building used to be. But the location that Nolan picked to actually film the truck stunt was in the middle of Chicago's banking district, a street where there are a load of underground vaults beneath it. You know this because there's manholes signifying where every vault is. So the special effects dudes were sweating bullets because the patch of road where they could actually do the stunt was like super tiny. So he flipped that 18-wheel truck on top of a bunch of bank vaults, which is nuts.
Yeah, I'd be shitting a brick too. So let's talk about tension building. This probably has one of the most tense third acts I've ever seen in a movie ever. Because damn, once you reach that midpoint and Rachel damn dies, all bets are off by that point, because you don't expect the love interest in a Batman movie to just die, and then one of the protagonists gets half his face burnt off and then becomes the villain. All bets are off by that point, and then the movie just becomes unpredictable.
Especially because, like, they even show, like, I'm gonna get Rachel, you get Harvey, and then they just get Harvey. No good fortune for Rachel.
The way Rachel dies in this, I feel like Nolan, like, played that thing again. I think it was Interstellar when Matt Damon dies, because he does this thing where they're, like, in the middle of a word, and then they get owned to death. It's a funny thing to do. I love that they included, like, 7 frames of just Maggie Gyllenhaal getting owned by just an explosion.
It's all right, listen.
We mentioned this in an unreleased episode that I will hopefully have finished here very soon, but the way that this movie just builds up the tension by that point, by the time you get to the damn fairies, you're pretty convinced that somebody's gonna pull that damn trigger.
It's a beautiful moment when that convict is like, I'm gonna do what you should have done 10 minutes ago, and just tosses the detonator out of the window. I think post-War on Terror America needed a scene where it's like, yeah, we're not all gonna eat each other alive because there's chaos in the world.
Something that I said last night when me and Cody were watching it is the most unrealistic thing about this movie is that straight-laced Republican dude wouldn't just pull the trigger.
If it were 2023, that motherfucker would have done it yesterday.
The Joker would have legitimately won by that point. Ah, God. You mentioned the convict throwing the detonator out of the window. It's one of the many cameos in this movie.
Is it Tommy Lister Jr.?
Yeah, Tommy Lister Jr., the guy from Friday, and he's the president in The Fifth Element. Mister, I know guys who've been on crack that make more sense than you, from Austin Powers. But yeah, he's in it. William Fichtner is in the beginning of this movie for like 2 minutes.
You have any idea who you're stealing from? You and your friends are dead!
He's out, right?
I forget that senator's name, but he's the "we're not intimidated by thugs" guy. That guy is like a real-life senator, and he's such a big fan of Batman that he's pretty much been in almost every single Batman movie ever made.
Speaking of being fans of Batman, if you watch Nolan's early filmography, if you watch his first film, Following, at one point you can see a Batman logo on somebody's door. It was preordained.
Yeah.
Everything's planned with Christopher Nolan. He's playing 4D chess.
Man, Christopher Nolan is such a based damn filmmaker, because it's like, you think for a man that makes such deadly serious damn movies, like, he would just have deadly serious interest and takes in movies, and then he goes and he's just like, oh yeah, Roderick rules. He's referencing Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He loves the Fast and Furious movies. He's apparently a Michael Bay fan. He loves his schlock, and you know what? More power to him. I love him for that.
Well, like, when Tenet came out and I saw it, my first thought was that he watched that episode of South Park where they parodied Inception and just said, yeah, what about it?
One last piece of anti-Hong Kong propaganda. So they actually figured out how to do the building jump, the sort of Batman jumping between buildings practically, by attaching a bungee cord to a helicopter. But Hong Kong wouldn't give them an affordable permit to do a helicopter stunt in Hong Kong. So they had to do it on green screen, right? With like an IMAX plate. But, fun fact, for the stuntman, for the green screen jump, it was still an 120-foot drop. So even when he's doing just special effects, he's nuts. Chris Nolan goes into the paint.
Mm-hmm.
We love you, Chris. We love you. You're f***ing nuts. All right, I think this is a perfect time to get into our final thoughts on this movie. Tim, we'll start with you.
This movie's not wearing hockey pads.
Perfect. Would you say that this movie's good?
Yeah, I guess.
Respect! not playing into a gimmick. We're subverting expectations. I love it. Austin, final thoughts.
Movie good! Wait.
Hell yeah. We got the first Austin movie good.
Okay, as someone who's also into visual fidelity, right? And this does not get said enough, I am so grateful that this film popularized Hollywood directors shooting on IMAX cameras. This was the one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've heard that Cillian Murphy hangs dong in Oppenheimer, and I've never seen a 60-foot tall projection of a penis before.
I love Batman Damned.
Thank you, Christopher Nolan, for making blockbusters strive to look better and be better. Austin out.
Okay, so my final thoughts. Yeah, I love this movie. I've always loved it. I will probably always love it. If The Batman is the perfect Batman adaptation and the perfect Batman movie, The Dark Knight is just a perfect f***ing movie. It ticks off so many boxes. You could nitpick this movie's logic all you f***ing want, but if you do, you're a f***ing asshole. I'm just gonna say it. You should be ashamed of yourself. Enjoy what you f***ing have, because you know what we have right here? A really good f***ing movie. But you wanna know who's not a nitpicking asshole on Twitter?
Who?
You! The persons watching/listening to this video, thank you oh so very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of this episode down in the comments section below. What do you think of The Dark Knight? Is Heath Ledger the best thing since sliced bread? Would this movie work better without Harvey Dent? Comment below and let us know the asshole that you are. And while you're also down there, hit the like button so we know how much you like us. Hit that subscribe button so we know how much you love us, and hit that bell icon to get updates on when we upload new videos. Check us out on our Patreon. Check us out on Twitch. Tim's been doing a lot of Sonic streams.
I'll be playing Sonic.
I'm going to be playing some goddamn Silent Hill 2 again here soon. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Grindr. I'm pretty sure Tanner set up a Grindr somewhere for this fucking podcast.
This podcast
Yeah, this podcast Tune in next week for a podcast that I won't be on. We're talking about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm pretty sure it'll be a fun podcast, though. I hope you all enjoy it if you do see it. But until then, I don't know when I'm going to see you guys next, so I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
Fuck Batman.
No more dead cops!
I slid my ticket across the table and I said, sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl.